Welcome to Batya on NewsNation. I'm Batya Ungar-Sargon, and we have a great show for you. Olympic gold medalist Mike Eruzione is going to join us to discuss whether Olympians should be weighing in on politics. We've got a panel of truck drivers to talk about the economy, and Mark McKinnon and Patrick Ruffini will debate the president's poll numbers. But we begin with what we learned about America this week. The January jobs report is out, and it is lit. The U.S. economy added 130,000 jobs last month. Unemployment is down, and the average American's weekly paycheck is up 2% since President Trump took office, outpacing inflation by about $1,200. Trump's economy is starting to deliver, and the secret sauce is actually not a secret. Turns out when you deport 500,000 illegal migrants and 2 million follow voluntarily, companies have to hire Americans. For decades, the elites in both parties shipped good, high-paying manufacturing jobs to China and then imported millions of migrants to compete for working-class jobs here. That absolutely turbocharged under President Biden, who stopped any form of border enforcement and allowed 15 million illegal migrants to stream into the country. Why did he do it? Because the Democrats' base is the rich and educated, people who want access to cheap labor. The left likes to claim that illegal migrants do jobs Americans won't do. But not a single industry in America has more than a 31% share of illegal labor. Not one. The left supports open borders because the Democrats represent the ownership class, which has been lining its pockets with the stolen wages of their working-class neighbors. Of course, throughout the Biden years, the Democrats denied that the border was open.
No doubt about it. Our border is secure.
We agree that the border is secure.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
That was, of course, memory hold when President Trump won the 2024 election, and the Democrats realized that their open border was a loser at the polls. And they needed a way to make you think that they opposed it. So they started to say that, obviously, we should have a secure border. Both parties want that. But you can't deport people who came here illegally. And when it became clear that actually the American people support mass deportations, they changed tack again. Now they say that some tiny amount of people can be deported, the worst of the worst, but no one else, and certainly not anybody undercutting American workers in the labor force.
His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners, day laborers, and seamstresses.
Day laborers, vendors, construction workers, and cooks simply trying to work hard, make a living, and support their families. Does that sound like we're getting rid of the worst of the worst?
The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies. And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now.
What they are admitting when they say that is that the Democrats want to end the deportations for the same reason that Trump is doing them, because illegal migrants make labor cheaper. Jobs Americans won't do was always code for jobs the elites would rather die than do, like cleaning toilets, caring for the elderly, or driving trucks, jobs which used to pay a dignified wage to millions of working-class Americans until they were replaced with illegal labor. It was always just rank contempt for hard work from those who can't imagine doing it. Joining me now, I am so thrilled to have three truck drivers. Gord Magill, the author of the upcoming book on the murder of the American trucker called End of the Road. Justin Martin, an 18-year supply chain industry veteran. And we are thrilled to welcome back Marcus Coleman, a truck driver and outspoken advocate for a 7-year-old daughter, Delilah, who suffered devastating injuries when an illegal immigrant plowed an 18-wheeler into the car that Delilah was a passenger in. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for being here. Gord, I want to start with you. So there's this narrative from the Democrats that President Trump's policies are actually hurting working-class Americans. How do you see it?
I don't see that at all. And in our particular world in trucking, it's called a sort of one of our colleagues, a gentleman by the name of Craig Fowler, calls it the sort of, I think he calls it the compliance bump. So we've seen ICE arresting illegal alien truck drivers in various places around the country, and capacity starting to tighten. And now rates for trucker services are starting to go up. So, I mean, like you said at the beginning, when there's less free or cheaper labor around and they actually have to pay market rates for it, it goes up.
Marcus, I want you to explain to our viewers why the Democrats' current view that, you know, you can deport only the worst of the worst, only violent criminals. Why does that miss the mark for working class Americans?
Well, if you look at it like this, if they're only deporting the worst of the worst, there's still an influx of illegal workers that are still here, that are taking jobs from American people. My wife herself is a legal immigrant. She came in the way that she's supposed to, and the job that she has pays a lot more than somebody who doesn't have a working permit or anything like that. So therefore, she's not going to sit there and go down to, you know, low labor rates or under the table rates. So deporting as many illegal immigrants as possible is very important so we can get the market back where it's supposed to be at. The only reason why these people are getting paid low rates is because they can afford to be paid those low rates. They have no choice but to accept that.
Justin, the trucking industry really is a microcosm for everything that's gone wrong for working class Americans over the last 50 years. Tell our viewers a little bit about how.
So pay today for truck drivers is half what it was in 1980 when you adjusted for inflation. That is mostly due to this never-ending supply of drivers being flushed into the nation because of this fake truck driver shortage that's been perpetuated since the 90s. Time and time again, we've seen barriers to entry to many industries be lowered so that the most basic job out there that required any kind of skill is now being overtaken by people who shouldn't be in this country in the first place.
Yeah, Gord, we often hear about, you know, the truck driver shortage, but there's no real shortage of truck drivers, is there?
Oh, no, there's never been one.
No, not at all.
Statistical CDL data proves it. What's happened is that narrative, even before the flood of migrants from other countries, is it was used to juice CDL mills and truck driving schools in order to deal with the real problem, which is retention. A lot of trucking companies got so big and they couldn't keep employees around because they didn't want to pay them. So they would quit within a year and they had to keep hiring new people. So it sort of became this perpetual corporate welfare program. And when Americans sort of stopped signing up for it, they decided to go overseas and bring people here. And now the trucking industry is almost completely parasitized by these various gangsters who indenture their own people in what amounts to arrangements of indentured servitude to drive truck in the U.S., and then those guys send all that money home. So when they take our wages, there's a double whammy. Those wages end up as remittances going out of the country. So all this value is just leaving the United States while it's unemploying people who live here.
Now, Marcus, the president's poll numbers when it comes specifically to immigration have started to slip. What grade would you give him on immigration?
That's kind of hard for me to say. I've been focusing more on, you know, the stuff that's going on with my daughter and stuff like that. So as far as what he's doing, I'd say he's doing the best that he can with the pushback that he's receiving. He's going hard in certain areas. I do think that there's a lot more that can be done. I think it's also one of the things where he's creating or he's given us the opportunity to see that what he's doing is working. And I think as he continues to move forward, the market will come back to where it needs to go. As far as a grade goes, I mean, I'd say he's definitely passing for sure.
Justin, what about you? I mean, the jobs numbers came out this week. They were really good. To me, it seems like a lot of what he's doing around tariffs and around immigration is working. Do you see a connection between those areas of the agenda and then the wages of working class Americans?
Absolutely. A lot of this stuff has been subsidized. You know, the cheap freight rates, the cost of cheap goods, most of those costs are completely hidden. You know, the cost it takes to move a truck across the country is being subsidized by CDL grant programs, organized crime ring linked trucking companies. As soon as all of those little toys get taken away, costs for them have to go up and they get completely obliterated. But that enables workers here in the U.S. to earn more money.
Yeah, Gord, there's this narrative from the left that tariffs are a tax on working families. Do you agree with that?
The attack on working families has been the attack on my wages. The tariff stuff is extremely marginal. You'll hear people in the trucking industry or who buy truck freight say, "Oh, we can't pay drivers more. That's going to increase the cost of things." But the retail price of a good, the trucking component of that is only between like 1% and 3%. What the real problem is for working people is wages. The tariffs, I haven't even noticed what the tariffs are doing. I've noticed the cost of everything that's been going up since Biden was in office, since Trump won, since forever. It's just been an escalating cost of living. And that's because of these really bad policies towards working class people, towards flooding the place with immigrants, towards just bad economics. And, the tariff stuff is marginal. I haven't noticed it.
Marcus, last time you were here, you told us that your daughter Delilah, who was horrifically hurt in a crash caused by an illegal migrant, that the students in her school staged a walkout, an anti-ICE walkout. How did that make you and your family feel?
So it wasn't actually her school. It was the school that my other daughter goes to. It's infuriating. It's infuriating for many reasons. A lot of these kids, and I'm not even going to limit it to the kids, but even to the adults themselves, a lot of them don't even know what they're fighting for. They don't understand it. They're joining these protests because of the hype. They're just kind of jumping on the bandwagon. I would venture to say maybe 80 to 90% of them don't even understand why they're out there. They just see everybody out there creating chaos and being rebellious, and they want to join that. To them, it's fun. I support people that protest whatever it is that they're protesting. That's the great thing about the United States is you're able to do that. There's very few countries that allow you to do that. So, I mean, I support them. I'm all ears if somebody wants to sit down and actually have a conversation with me and be like, hey, this is the reason why I'm against ICE. Okay. And then I'll sit down and I'll say, this is the reason why we're with ICE. We can converse, but all this walkout and not knowing why you're walking out and doing it just to miss class, and you have no real reason why you're doing it. And you're creating this visual that all these people are supporting this when in reality, they're really not. They're just there just to be there. So if you were to sit there and stop and ask, a real student why they're against ICE, I'm pretty sure the answer wouldn't even make any sense.
And we want to pull up the GoFundMe for Delilah for any of our viewers who want to help with her care. She's suffering from real injuries. She lost the ability to speak, and she has to learn how to walk again, and Marcus is so deeply involved in her care. Justin, from your point of view, what's one thing that the administration could do that would make a difference for truck drivers?
So you asked Marcus earlier, like, how he would grade the president on deportations. I'd give him C-, D+, if that. Too much of the focus is on the individual drivers themselves. These drivers don't exist in a vacuum. Somebody brought them here. Somebody's employing them. If you take out the companies, many of them are linked to foreign crime organizations. That problem goes away immediately, because if they're here in the U.S., no legitimate trucking company is going to hire any of these drivers. So it takes bad trucking companies linking up with bad freight brokers to get freight to hire these illegal drivers. You cut off the head of the snake, everything else fixes itself.
Gordo, same question to you. What's one thing the administration could do to improve the lot of truck drivers and make it a middle-class job with good quality benefits and wages again?
I want to agree with what Justin just said, and I would add, we need to have much higher barriers to entry. Over the decades, people like the American Trucking Associations and state governments have chipped away at the standards of training and the standards of licensure, of actually getting your truck driving license. And clearly, there are so many people on our roads right now who shouldn't be, because those standards have been reduced. And that's why we have tragedies like what happened to Delilah. We must increase the standards to get CDLs.
Marcus, final question to you. What is your message to Americans who oppose deportations?
Like I've said it over and over again, come spend a day with us. See what it's like to sit here and be with this so-called victim of this crime and understand what my daughter's going to. And to touch on, the question that you asked the other two gentlemen, I agree with both of them. And I also agree, and I'm talking to Sean Duffy about this, is impounding these trucks for 30 days, $10,000 fine for the first offense. Second offense will be impound and what's called revoking their DOT license. So you got two chances. After that, you're done. If they were to implement this, a lot of these illegal truck drivers would not be in the driver's seats. These trucking companies don't care about the drivers, but they sure care about their truck. So if we take away their truck, the first time, they're not going to be having them in their seats anymore.
Brilliant. Gord Magill, Justin Martin, Marcus Coleman, God bless and protect you all. Thank you so much for giving NewsNation's audience insight that they can't get anywhere else. I'm so grateful to you all.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Batya. Take care.
Sure.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.